Hello everyone, Giltar here with part 3 and the final installment of my look at Mobile Suit Gundam 80 War in the Pocket. Now, despite, pretty heavily praising this work so far, I'm going to move into a few points of criticism, and I think they're pretty significant in my opinion. I'll start off with the character of Commander Killing, which is quite villainous and not in a good way. As far as the movie has established up to this point, the characters are fairly fleshed out, they have depth, and there are multiple facets to every one, so that they're not just simply cardboard cutout cliches. Commander Killing's a little different in that he's nothing but this sort of crazy, power-hungry villain commander type of character. He executes a coup d'etat, murders a senior officer in Zeon, and basically takes over Granada and proceeds to launch a nuclear warhead against Side 6 because the special ops team headed by Steiner was not able to destroy or take the NT-1 Alex. So he's deciding to get rid of it completely, including all the inhabitants of Side 6. So, I mean, the biggest fault in that is that every other character in the story is pretty much understandable, whereas Killing is just, you can write him off completely. He's so stupid in that Zeon is not a ragtag bunch of dissenters. They actually are well run, and they're quite organized, and if they weren't, they wouldn't have such success against the Earth Federation. So with that in mind, I don't see how Commander Killing could expect to avoid reprisal against his murder of a senior officer. I don't know if he's just so stupid he doesn't think that there's going to be some backlash from this, even though he's going to keep it under wraps. I mean, it's really the circumstances of the senior officer's death is quite suspicious. So, I mean, first of all, the character is kind of idiotic. I can't see how that character could do such a thing without understanding that there's going to be some significant consequences, even if he tries his best to cover it up. Another issue with it is just the fact that, if he's willing to commit mass murder, then he is definitely some sort of psychopath or sociopath. I mean, he has no empathy at all for these people. And it's just, again, it's just so lazy to have that kind of villain in a story that is otherwise well fleshed out and well developed. It has layers upon layers of depth. A second point of criticism is the way that Bernie and Al repaired the Zaku Kai in about 3 days or less, and they were the only ones working on it. So we're talking about a rookie pilot, and we don't even know if he has extensive knowledge about repair and maintenance of mobile suits, who's assisted by an 11-year-old boy. I mean, I just don't get how two people can repair a mobile suit in that amount of time like that. It really draws me out of the immersion of the movie, of the experience, because up to this point I could really sort of get behind the story and quite easily lose myself and just sort of invest my thinking into this movie, and I'm okay with it. But then when we get to this point where they have this little montage where Bernie and Al are repairing the mobile suit, the Zaku Kai, it really just brings me out of it. At that point, I have to stop and start questioning, trying to rationalize what's going on, and then that distracts me from the movie experience or the viewing experience, and that is a major disappointment because aside from that, few other things throughout this production have been so poorly thought out. I mean, everything else is well thought out except for something like this and Commander Killing. And the third point of criticism will sound too odd, perhaps, but I think this is an anime series that isn't for everybody. Not that they should be generally, but especially for Gundam fans. A lot of people will watch this with disappointment because they're probably expecting huge battle scenes and just some perhaps mindless eye candy, and you're not going to get this with War in the Pocket. For the most part, it is something you actually have to participate in. It engages the viewer on an intellectual level, and you can't sort of sleepwalk your way through War in the Pocket and enjoy it. You have to be present. You have to be ready and willing to partake in this viewing. And if you're just expecting something to kick up your feet on and just watch pretty colors and explosions, you're not going to see it. I mean, this type of story really, it's hard to even classify it as an action story. It isn't at all. It's not even. And another problem is, like, some people view it as a drama, I think people, when they refer to this as a drama, they're not interested in it. I think they're really referring to melodrama. I'll get into that at some later point somewhere else. But this movie is well thought out, or rather, anime OVA series, and yeah, it's just it really, in a way, plays with a lot of people's expectations. Like, for example, the scene where Misha in the camper is about to take on the Alex after the Alex's armor is destroyed. Misha ignites his own beam saber and he goes after the Alex. And one would expect, okay, well, we're gonna have a showdown, a beam saber duel, and the director or whoever decided to choreograph the scene this way, basically avoided expectation and meeting the easy route, the easy answer. Instead of seeing a typical heroic clash of swords, we see Chris just choose to use the Alex's Gatling machine guns housed in the forearms and basically destroy the camper and riddle that mobile suit with bullets. And it is somewhat anticlimactic, but it does lend into the whole effort of making this more of a plausible experience where things do make more sense. And so, that's an instance of turning around expectations. Other things like where Misha's death scene is shown from the camera angle, the perspective of the camera. It doesn't frame Misha within the frame. It's in the cockpit, but we see the cockpit getting jarred by the machine gun fire, the Gatling gun fire. And we see his little alcohol tin being violently shook around as the mobile suit's being essentially destroyed, and we don't see Misha in his death throes. And later on we see the pilot's chair stained with blood, but again we don't see a corpse, we don't see the removal of Misha's body. It really uses these sort of cinematic methods and techniques to add and heighten the experience of the story. It doesn't play into the easy route. And that's what I mean by a dramatic work. This is truly a dramatic work where you have to think. And it's a combination of both intellectual and emotional investment. And that's the problem, because not everybody's looking for that when they come to Gundam. Let's face it, Gundam, the franchise of the brand, is not based upon deep thinking. And neither should it be. It's nice to get more depth every once in a while, like War in the Pocket, but we can agree that the norm of Gundam production has been fairly action-laden and really geared towards the younger viewers. So with that in mind, I can't recommend War in the Pocket to any Gundam fan. I would recommend War in the Pocket to people who are not as familiar with anime, and I use War in the Pocket as an example where the work, the content of the story can transcend the genre's expectations. So we expect animation, we expect cartoons to be childish and pander to some of the lowest common denominators and appeal to very, very insignificant desires just to be excited and get some momentary satisfaction. War in the Pocket delivers something that is entirely on a different level. And so with that in mind, it's not for everybody. It's not for a lot of people, to be honest. And so that is a problem with this production, is that it does so much to separate itself from the norm of Gundam that it is something that will alienate a lot of people. And that is a problem, because ultimately this is something that is part of a larger franchise, and it just unfortunately doesn't fit in well overall. This is more true. I think War in the Pocket is more true to Mobile Suit Gundam in terms of a character development, focusing on characters and concepts like the way that people are dealing with the issues of war, and everything else is the icing on the cake. Mobile suits, the action, they're a part of it, but they are not the core essence of this work like Mobile Suit Gundam, which really is a character piece. So, and it's like a war drama. I mean, that's what it is. Mobile Suit Gundam is a war drama, and I think it does quite a nice job, considering it's like a 43 episode TV series aimed for kids. So ultimately, that's how I feel about this work. I really love it. I enjoy it on my own, but it's not something for everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed this point of view I've shared and offered for consideration, and you guys got something out of it. I hope if anybody hasn't watched this and has watched this 3-parter, it gets you motivated to check it out. Even if you don't like it, give it a try. Or if you are looking for something a little different, to offer you something a little more than the standard Gundam fare, I heartily recommend War in the Pocket. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys will check out War in the Pocket if you haven't done so, or check it out again and watch it one more time just to remind yourself what it's like. And I just want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time at another review.